All right. Should I turn my light on? Can you see me? All right. Turn your volume up so you can hear me. But I gotta talk to you about some real shit. Some real shit today. Everything I talk about is some real shit, but today gonna be some real shit, like for real. You heard the previous videos where I talked about our women and how they feel, and reminding our women that black men feel the same way, but letting our women know that we hear them. We do. But this is a follow-up video to that. Now, the reason we feel that way, and the reason you feel that way, is because we lack culture. We do. We don't even have to lie about it. We don't have to sugarcoat it or none of that. And when I say we lack culture, I want you to really understand what I mean when I say we lack culture. And I don't want to say that we lack a presence, because we do have a presence and we do have culture. We just lack connection when it comes to the culture. Everybody else might be tuned in to their culture and identify with it. We don't. Excuse me. Because we like sponges. We adapt to things. And when it comes to us, within this last generation or last few generations of people that look like me, we are connecting to traumas, generational traumas. And that is the disconnection from our culture. And it's starting to break our families apart for generations and generations and generations. Now, our ancestors, they had their names taken away from them. They had their names taken away from them. And shout out to Jamila. I saw your video, Jamila, where you was talking about if we was given an even platform, we will dominate, because that is the truth. Now, when you take away our languages, when you take away our names, when you take away our traditions, we don't have nothing. We don't have nothing to pass down to our kids. I was talking to an Asian. They map out the way their children are raised. They map out the way their children are going to live their lives. Even to going to college, they don't have a choice. You're going to college. I got an 18-year-old who in her first year of college, and she don't want to be there. The only thing that challenges her to stay there is knowing, like, okay, well, my dad did it. My dad, she's been to my graduations. My dad did it. He graduated 3 times. You know? So that forces her and it challenges her to get it done. Now, if you take away all of these things, we're spending 10, 20, 30 years of our lives trying to build an identity in a world that told us who we weren't instead of helping us remember who we are. Now imagine that. And this is why you see so many of us, people who look like me and you, growing up without understanding where we come from. And it's not just the country that we're living in, but what about the values? We don't have any values to identify with. What about the spiritual roots? What about our sense of purpose? We don't have those things. And that loss that we suffered, or that our ancestors suffered, what it did was it created a lot of divisions inside of our homes. That's why we don't see marriage as a tool. There's no cohesiveness between a man and woman who looks like me and you. And that's why some of the fathers, they don't know how to lead and even be fathers in their home. They don't know how to be husbands. When I was a husband, that was the first time that I ever knew anything about being a husband, was me becoming one and then learning as I go. That's horrible, because I got this woman life and her sense of protection and everything in my hands, and I'm trying to figure it out. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine getting in your car to go on a road trip, don't know where you're going, don't know how you're getting there, don't know if you got enough gas or whatever, food, rations, spare tires? That's how we live in our life. You understand what I'm saying? Be quiet, Aiden. I'm talking. Now, that's why you also have some mothers who feel like they're carrying too much of the burden by themselves. They're carrying so much weight of the family on their back and they're carrying all this weight alone, right? And some kids, you got some kids who grow up in a house full of people, but they still feel unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. I'm dealing with all that right now. And I'm a proactive father, and I'm trying to distribute my time with each of my kids to give them the time that they deserve and that they need because they didn't ask to be here. Now, to go back what I said when it comes to this culture, we lost the community mindset, where we used to raise each other's children because it takes a village to raise a child, right? We used to protect each other, protect each other's children, and we used to build together. Now all of us are in survival mode, competing with each other instead of connecting with each other. You got husbands and wives competing with each other. You got children who don't want to be like their father. They want to compete with their father. They want to go lift weights, get strong, so that they can get the courage to stand up to their father. That's the wrong mindset. Little girls, like, you know, sizing themselves up next to their mothers and stuff like that. All right, now before I was interrupted real quick. But you got little girls comparing themselves to their mom, sizing themselves up to their mom. You know what I mean? That's horrible. That's horrible, right? So we got judging. We judge each other instead of healing each other. We always talk about how other race of people, they afraid of us, or they might be afraid of this, or they see us and they act like they're afraid of us. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of us be afraid of each other. A lot of us don't want to go to black establishments, black communities, black neighborhoods, deal with black businesses because of prejudice that we have against each other, competition that we have against each other. We don't respect each other's marriages. Your friend or somebody got a beautiful wife, you secretly admire her, or you know what I'm saying, vice versa. It's horrible. We don't support each other. We see a married couple going through something. How many of us pitch in and say, you know what, we'll come watch the kids so that you and your husband can go on a date night? Or even if you don't trust us with your kid, we'll prepare enough food for our house for dinner. Bring it over there so that you and your husband don't have to worry about it. Y'all can have some food together. Or even if you're short on food, like, not many of us is doing that. And if you are one of those people that's doing that, then kudos to you. Kudos to you. So we got to get out of that survival mode. And then here's another thing I want to leave you off with. A lot of us are starting to wake up. And that's the purpose of this video. A lot of us are learning about true spirituality that connects with us. A lot of us are learning about our family lineage that connects with us. A lot of us are learning about traditional foods that not only nourish our bodies, but it protects us and give us a healing agent. It activates that inside of us. So what we have to start doing is embracing those things, because a lot of us are starting to be storytellers again. We're telling stories to our kids again. We having dinner again. We're doing these things. We're instilling hope into our families. I used to be one of those guys who was pro single life. I used to always advocate, yeah, single life, and glorify the single life like it was something. Even though that was anti pro life, it was anti life, it was anti marriage, it was anti communion, it was anti all of those things. But what I plan to do here is help bring back that sense of tribe and connection between us, our peoples. So when you see me or my sons, you don't have to grab for your gun. You don't have to ask us where we from, because we won. Because without this connection and without this sense of tribe, our families are going to keep repeating the same old traumas, the same old pain. So no, we don't have to lack culture. We just disconnected from it, but now we're going to be remembering and getting back to it. And remember who you are, because we're finally starting healing what was broken a long time ago. Let me puff.